The story you're about to hear involves three people: Michael, Sarah, and Lily. What seemed like an ordinary friendship turned into a nightmare, leading to betrayal, heartbreak, and ultimately murder. Michael and Sarah had been married for almost a decade. On the surface, they were what people in their small town called the perfect couple. Michael had a stable job at a local firm, and Sarah was a kindergarten teacher who everyone adored. They had a comfortable home and a close group of friends. Among those friends was Lily, Sarah's best friend since childhood. The two women were inseparable, laughing together, going on trips, and sharing everything. Lily had been there for Sarah through thick and thin, including her marriage to Michael. She was always around, part of their lives like family. But over time, something changed. The friendship that once seemed unshakable began to crack, and the cracks were deeper than anyone could have imagined. Sarah began to notice little things. Michael, once attentive and loving, seemed distant. He was working late more often and seemed distracted when he was at home. He barely smiled anymore and brushed off Sarah's concerns. Michael said he was just tired from work, but Sarah sensed something was off. Lily was always there for her, saying, "If you need anything, I'm here." But why was Lily around so much when Michael was home? Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. One night, Sarah lay awake, unable to sleep as Michael worked late again. Anxiety churned in her stomach, making her feel restless. Almost on instinct, she picked up Michael's phone, something she had never dared to do before. What she found shook her to her core. Buried in his messages were texts that revealed a betrayal she never saw coming. Michael and Lily had been exchanging flirty messages for months. Each word cut deeper, confirming her worst fears they weren't just friends. Her hands trembled as she read, the weight of the betrayal crashing down on her like a tidal wave. The love of her life and her best friend had shattered her trust in the most devastating way. Heartbroken and seething with anger, Sarah felt a whirlwind of emotions. How could they do this to her? She had opened her heart to both, only to have it ripped apart. The pain twisted inside her, mingling with a fierce determination to confront the truth. The next day, Sarah confronted Michael. She could barely hold back her emotions as she showed him the messages. Michael, caught off guard, admitted everything. "I didn't mean for this to happen, Sarah. It just happened," Michael stammered, tears welling in his eyes. But for Sarah, his apology meant nothing. The damage was done. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her husband of 10 years had fallen for her best friend, and they had been sneaking behind her back for months. After confronting Michael, Sarah decided she needed to speak to Lily. "I know about everything," Sarah said coldly. Lily, usually so confident and charming, stood frozen. She tried to explain herself, but Sarah wasn't having it. The betrayal was too deep, and the trust was gone. In the weeks that followed, things only got worse. Sarah couldn't look at Michael without thinking about his betrayal, and the once strong connection between them was now filled with anger and resentment. Michael tried to distance himself from Lily, but it wasn't that easy. Lily had become obsessed with the idea of being with Michael. She didn't care about Sarah's feelings anymore. She wanted Michael, and she would stop at nothing to have him. Michael found himself caught in a dangerous web. He wanted to fix things with Sarah, but Lily kept pushing, texting him, calling him, and showing up at his work. She wasn't willing to let go. The tension between the three of them reached a breaking point. Something terrible was about to happen, but none of them saw it coming.
One evening, after weeks of simmering anger and obsession, Sarah decided she couldn't take it anymore. She called Lily over to their house for one final. Lily showed up, not knowing that Sarah's anger had turned into something far more dangerous. The argument quickly escalated, words flying between the two women, accusations being thrown in every direction.
Sarah's pain was overwhelming. Everything she had built with Michael, every memory, every moment, had been destroyed by Lily. In a fit of rage, she stormed into the kitchen, grabbing a knife. Lily, shocked by the intensity of Sarah's fury, tried to leave, but Sarah's emotions took control. In a moment, the aftermath of the murder sent shockwaves through the small town. The police arrived at the scene, and Sarah, still in shock, was arrested for Lily's murder. Michael, who had been out of the house when it happened, arrived home to find the horror that had unfolded. The love triangle that had once been a secret was now a public scandal. The trial that followed was heartbreaking. Sarah was sentenced to prison for the murder of her best friend, a woman she had trusted with her life. Michael, racked with guilt, was left to pick up the pieces of a life he had helped destroy. This story shows how love can turn into betrayal with tragic results. Sarah felt deep hurt and anger, leading to a shocking act that changed everything. Michael lost both his wife and best friend in one night and felt very guilty. Trust was broken, leaving the community in shock. It reminds us how fragile relationships are and how one wrong choice can lead to terrible outcomes.